today really underscores why. Former President Barack Obama is taking part in a virtual rally this afternoon with Democratic Senate candidates Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. While at the same time, Vice President Mike Pence will be in the state at a rally with Republican Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. President Trump heads there tomorrow. NBC's Blayne Alexander is following all of it for us in Atlanta. Blayne, it's great to see you. We've got a lot of competing campaigning going on here, and of course, all overshadowed by President Trump and some of his allies, or at least outside supporters, who have been encouraging Republican voters not to vote in this primary, which has really created a problem for Republican leaders here in Washington. What's the latest on the ground?
Well, Casey, it puts an added burden on Republicans, essentially. So when in a time when they'd really rather be focusing all of their efforts, all of their energy on saying, you know what, come out to vote, support Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, they're now saddled with this additional burden in many ways of reassuring voters that the election process here is secure and that their vote will actually be counted. Now, of course, all of this kind of underscores the issue that Republicans are dealing with. They're having to thread this kind of line, or walk this kind of line, rather, of, yes, getting people out to vote, but also managing the president's repeated and unfounded claims of election fraud here in the state of Georgia. Now, as for the president's visit tomorrow, there are a couple of different camps of thought as to whether this is going to hurt or whether this is going to help Republicans. Certainly, the incumbent senators are welcoming his rally tomorrow. It's going to be held down in Valdosta. That's down in South Georgia. They're going to be appearing with the president. A number of other Republicans from here in Georgia are going to be speaking as well. And we expect that there will be a good turnout. So certainly there is that school of thought. But some Republicans that I've spoken to are concerned that, well, it could hurt or it could help. In fact, I spoke with Gabriel Sterling. He's the official that we've heard a lot from this week, the elections official who had strong words from President Trump. I asked him point blank. I said, do you think this is good or bad for Republicans? And Casey, he told me, who the heck knows at this point? So that kind of echoes what we're hearing from other Republicans, hoping that the president's message will be focused on Senators Loeffler and Perdue and less of airing his own grievances with elections here in Georgia. Casey.
A really tough spot for Republicans to be in Georgia with the Senate majority on the line. Blayne Alexander, thank you so much for that update. And let's talk more about this with Tiffany Cross, MSNBC's newest anchor, and of course, the author of the book, Say It Louder, Black Voters, White Narratives, and Saving Our Democracy. Tiffany, before we get into it, I just want to say congratulations. We're thrilled to have you as a colleague.
Oh, thank you so much, Casey. I've appeared on the screen with you so many times, and I'm thrilled to be able to call you a colleague. So I really appreciate that.
Now, we can't wait to see what you're going to do on Saturday mornings. Tiffany, let's talk about Stacey Abrams. She tweeted that in the last 24 hours, 1 million voters have requested their ballots in this race. Or I'm sorry, she tweeted that in the last 24 hours, 1 million people asking for ballots. That seems to say a lot about the enthusiasm. And we also know that Democrats have been much more likely to vote by mail. What's your take on what this means for this upcoming runoff?
Yeah, I think Stacey Abrams has done a lot of work on the ground. And so that's why you're seeing this ground swelling of so many people requesting these absentee ballots. But I would also say there are folks like LaTosha Brown with Black Voters Matter. And there are these very, confined digital spaces where people are encouraging the voters of Georgia to exercise their civic engagement this way. I do want to say as well that the Asian American Pacific Islander vote in Georgia is quite significant also. There are 300,000 people of AAPI descent in Georgia, and almost 200,000 of them voted, 185,000 to be exact. And so I think that's where you're going to have to rely on coalition building and GOTV efforts. And when you look at the people doing the work on the ground and through that lens, I think victory is certainly possible. You have to also consider the disinformation campaigns being run by the Republicans. That's only hurting themselves. When you had Sidney Powell on stage at a GOP event saying, don't vote because, it's a rigged election. She's saying this to the Republican Senate base. There's also discord within the Republican Party in Georgia. Kelly Loeffler was, by all evidence, a carpetbagger. I mean, she pretty much bought this seat by flooding millions of dollars into the GOP pockets there. And that's why the Republican Governor Brian Kemp up the system by tapping her over Doug Collins, by all means a Trump acolyte on Capitol Hill, as you well know, Casey, covering Capitol Hill. So there's not unity on that side. And so I do think that you can see victory happen on the Democratic side in Senate. And it says something that the power of the Senate will be determined by the rising majority of America, the new American electorate, people of color.
Certainly, I know that's how Kelly Loeffler's critics certainly tagged her in Georgia. And there has also been some frustration among Georgia officials at Doug Collins in the wake of this as they try to focus on getting these two Republicans elected. And he continues to side with President Trump. Tiffany, let me ask you about Raphael Warnock specifically, because it's really unique that we have a black candidate who is facing this runoff with an electorate, as you say, that is more and more engaged. What do you think it means to them to have Warnock on the ticket? And is he going to be the one who is helping out Jon Ossoff here as the two of them campaign together?
I think they're both going to help each other. Jon Ossoff, if you remember, he ran for the Georgia Congressional 6th District, a district where I grew up, actually. So I think the voters got to know him during that process. Raphael Warnock, being someone who went to Morehouse and he still pastors at Martin Luther King's church there, has very deep roots in the Atlanta community. And I think that statewide, people have gotten to know him. So I think these two candidates will certainly help each other, and they certainly campaign well. I had them on the show when I was guest hosting for Joy Reid on AM Joy, and they did a great job complimenting each other, and I think the voters have gotten to see that. I will say, though, I think Raphael Warnock has done a great job in combating some of the Kelly Loeffler ads. He had that great ad where he was walking the dog and just, kind of got ahead of some of these asinine attacks that we've seen come out of some of the Republican campaigning. So time will tell if this is going to be effective. But I think given all evidence that we've seen so far, the race is certainly tight and nobody should operate as though the wind is at their back. This is going to come down. And I wonder if this will be like the presidential election. Will we know the results on January 5th, or will we have to wait a few days to find out? So I think that, remains to be seen.
Indeed. And we have just about a month left of this race. Tiffany Cross, thank you so much for your insights today. And congratulations on the new show again. Tiffany's show premieres Saturday, December 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on MSNBC.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.